evening, everyone. Welcome back. I'm back for a second reading. It's March 18th, 2021. And I'm back because I just realized that the moon is going into Gemini tonight. And that really helped explain today's earlier reading to me about the tower and that everything's going to change. And the moon entering into Gemini really signifies a time to assess patterns and habits and cycles and things coming to an end so that new things can come in. It's a time to really be creative. So it really makes sense that we had received the 9 of paintings, which I had said wands when I watched the videos, but it's cups. And we got lots of cup energy in that first reading. And so it's really time to go deep. It's time to look at patterns. It's time to get ready for intimacy, creativity. You're going to feel emotional. You're going to need to connect. It's interesting along the way, as the moon makes its way into Gemini, or has been all day, it passes through Jupiter, Neptune, Venus, and Pluto. And so it's a lot of different energies coming in all at once to help you really look at stuff and really assess what needs to go and where do I need to go and what do I have to let go of. That seems to be the really big question on my mind anyway, is what's coming in to force me to let go. You guys, something big is coming in for all of us in one way or another. Or it's here already and you're already feeling it. I know I am. Anyway, I want to do another reading. So I pulled tarot, of course, and I have 2 oracle decks that I felt drawn to and guided to tonight. So we're going to jump in right now. And I'm so excited. And I positioned the camera a little different. So I think it'll be better. Okay. I want to start with this deck. Okay, so let's find out how we can get ready. How can we prepare for all of the energy coming at us with the moon going into Gemini? How can we get ready? What are some themes in our character? What are some themes in our ability to handle emotion? How can we call upon spirit for assistance? Oh boy. Well, we got 4 falling out. Now, and I love all 4. So 5, there's a hidden one. You know, and these are the big themes, you guys. Like, as I look at these totally resonate for me. We're going to clarify them with tarot. And we're also going to look at these numbers. Because we've got 10, we've got an 8. You know, we've got some action here, you guys. Okay, so the first card that came out was ambition. And then we have loyalty, dedication, preconditions, and love. I love that love came in last. I'm going to center love at the bottom here. There we go. Now, we know change is coming. And we know it's coming at us. And it's coming fast. And I think on some level, everyone can feel this energy. And for some, it might feel really uncomfortable. For some, it might feel really exciting. I suppose it depends on where things are at for you. Now, what I'm sensing from all of these cards is that it's going to be a lot of selfhood here. We're really looking at the self first. And we're assessing where we feel that we need to put our energy. Where do I feel I am myself? Where do I feel drawn to myself? When am I most in love with myself? When am I most in love with myself? Where are my dedications? There's double 2 there. I mean, there's a lot of energy that comes from the idea of pursuing things that you feel a love for and a dedication for, as opposed to obligation. And Obligation. Yeah. I mean, are you sacrificing yourself, or are you serving through love for yourself, for others? Sacrifice implies, to me, a situation where I'm actually not being loyal, because if I'm sacrificing myself, I'm not being loyal to myself. And loyalty is an important concept to consider when you think of selfhood. I think when people think of loyalty, it becomes a question of loyalty to others, right? That seems to be the first place we think of. That's the first place we go to when we think of loyalty. Well, who are you loyal to? And it's a concern in conflict. They weren't loyal, comes up. And, well, what about you? Are you being loyal to yourself first? Maybe that person that you felt wasn't loyal to you was being loyal to themselves first. And sometimes that means they're your tower that falls, right? And I mean, the idea of being loyal to the journey, the self-journey, the self-discovery journey, is also coming through as something that needs your dedication. You need to be dedicated to yourself. I'm feeling a lot of this is about self, like the first reading from today when we had the Ace of Cups. I mean, the Ace of Cups could definitely be a relationship with someone else, but I really feel like this is a time to really look at the self. And then we have this beautiful 8 infinity card of preconditions. Now, this is an important assessment. Another card that had come up this morning was justice. And really, I was suggesting that one be evaluated, like looking at things through an evaluation lens that doesn't include judgment. But I think when I look at this as well, I think, what limits are you putting on yourself? What conditions are you saying are law that could definitely be limiting your love? You know what I mean? Love knows no conditions. There are no conditions in love. The idea of conditions is eliminated by love. And especially self, all forms of love. But when you think about this in the context of the self, really these sort of conditions and preconditions, which implies that we're putting them on before the event has even taken place, if it ever takes place, we're making preconditions, and we're to me this seems like law making. I've been doing some writing about these laws we create in our minds, and I've been doing it in collaboration with a friend of mine, and every time we talk about it, it gets a little deeper, because we keep diving deeper into the idea of why make a law. Because if you break a law, there's such severe consequences. So why make laws in the first place? Mental laws anyway, self-laws. Why not just be governed by love? In the sense that if I have the true love for myself and for others, I'm not going to harm you because I love you, not because it's against the law. And so that kind of principle has to be applied to the self. Like when you think about yourself, the love has to come through, because if it doesn't come through, then truly you are living in a state where there must be many conditions, many ifs, many buts. It's not an as-is situation. It's conditional. And the other card we get here is ambition. And as I reflect on that, I just keep thinking about the effort, the effort that we exert and where that energy can be placed. What's that saying? Getting it, where, the energy flows where it grows, or what grows is where the energy flows. So like basically the meaning is where you have your attention and your energy, where you put your energy, that's what's going to grow in your life. So it's an important thing to ask yourself, where am I putting my most attentive states? Where are my efforts going? Where's my money going? Where is my energy going? Where am I spending most of my time in the day? Do I spend 2 hours talking to people that make me feel bad, or do I spend 2 hours a night talking to people that make me feel energized and inspired? Am I spending my money on things so that I won't feel life? Or am I investing my money in things that help me appreciate life and understand myself? Do I see these things as sacred, or am I just sort of like whatever and expending energy without actually thinking about where that energy is going and honoring that energy? That like, this takes effort. You know what I mean? Like, she's having a great time because she's putting her effort into something she feels love for, I think, And the thing I like about this dedication card also is that she's got a sash on her eyes, which sort of implies that the same sort of principle that I'm just talking about, like, be careful where you're dedicating yourself to. Are you dedicating yourself to self-sacrifice, or are you dedicating yourself to service to others? Because they're different, they're really different. And I say that without judging, because I myself find that to be a tightrope sometimes when you're questioning the line between self-sacrifice and service to others. It's a tightrope. But you know what? I truly believe that once I heal that part of myself, I won't see it as a tightrope anymore. I'll see it as a process that I've understood. I believe one day I will achieve that. And sorry, I'd like to play with crystals while I'm reading. I'm always drawn to different ones. This is Angelite. I love crystals. Do you guys love crystals as much as I do? Angelite is such a beautiful crystal, and it's very good for intuition and connecting with spirit. Anyway, this card is really making me think that this person may or, needs to, like all the cards, needs to really evaluate, what conditions am I putting on myself? What conditions am I putting on myself? That's an important question. Where am I dedicating my energy and time and money and effort? Who and what am I being loyal to first? Am I being loyal to myself? Do I even think about that? Or am I constantly looking for loyalty externally, which is a whole other conversation that we should have, because you're not going to find anything there. All you're going to find is risk. Because if you're searching for validation and loyalty and all kinds of things in the external only, then if you don't get it, it's going to feel really, really devastating and alone. You got to get those things happening internally and realize that the truth of those feelings is always within, and that then if you get it or you don't get it in the external, it doesn't actually really matter. Does that make sense? And I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from getting in relationships or anything like that, but I'm just saying that really the true love you're going to find is within yourself. And, that's an important thing to appreciate, that the self-love, it's got to come first. Like, to quote RuPaul badly, because I'm not very good at quoting people, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anyone else? And it's so damn true. From Ru to you, through me, it's true. It's really true. And an important investigation that you can do is to really assess whether or not you're loving on yourself or not. And you can do that by asking yourself these 4 questions that came through for you. Where is your ambition going? What and who are you loyal to? What and where do you put your dedication? Or to what and where, I suppose. And what are the preconditions that you're putting on yourself? And ultimately that will help you understand if you love yourself, really love yourself. Like, not just like, yeah, I love myself. You know, I eat good food, I work out. How do you talk to yourself? What are the things that you say to yourself? Like, are you constantly comparing yourself? Are you constantly judging yourself? Because I got to tell you, that's not very loving. It is what it is, and I'm not here to judge you, but I know I can say with confidence that your inner child feels really sad every time it gets compared to someone on Instagram or it gets compared to someone on YouTube, and it walks away feeling less than and not enough. These are signals of things that need to go. That could be the tower that wanted to come down today. You know what I mean? Maybe your tower is yourself. Okay, I want to clarify some of what we talked about loving the self with these tarot cards. Okay, now let's clarify one at a time. Ambition. Can we please clarify the ambition oracle? Woo! One at a time. Okay, these are going back in. One at a time, please. One at a time. Ambition. We want to clarify ambition, please. Oh, hello. Okay. The Fool. Beautiful. Now, let's clarify loyalty, please. Clarifying the loyalty oracle card. Ah, okay, we're doing it that way. Oh, beautiful. King of Wands. Okay. Let's clarify dedication, please. Whoop. Thank you. Four of Cups. Let's clarify. Oh, look at that. 4 of Cups over 22 for dedication. How beautiful is that? That's nice. Okay, clarification for preconditions, please. Okay, Queen of Swords. Love that. And clarification. Oh, that was easy. On love. 4 of Swords. Ooh, ouch. 4 of Swords and then the 8 of Swords, you guys, which equals 12. You can't make this up. Okay, here we go. Let's put those back. Spirit's really talking to us tonight, you guys, because we're really diving deep. We're going deep. If you're not going to go deep, then it's gonna suck, because everything is pushing you towards this self-discovery journey. Okay, you got the Fool. That's beautiful. The Fool is all about that first step into self-discovery, you know, and the first question that we got was, where's your ambition? Where do you feel most ambitious? That's going to help the Fool. The Fool moves into self-discovery by just going with it, seeing where life is going to take him. Discovering the self begins, I guess, for you tonight with this moon, with looking at where your ambitions are, which is the first card that fell for you and the first card in the major arcana. So you got to think about that. You got to start with the first card. So our first step out of this is to sort of go with the flow on the journey of selfhood. You are here to discover yourself, which is what the Fool card is all about. The Fool card is about selfhood. The Fool card is about self-discovery. That's who the Fool is. He's on his way. He's going for it. He wants to know about himself. And he's going to do it. You know, he's going to figure it out. In 22 cards, he's going to end up at the world. And he's going to know what he needs to know. And so are you if you go for it. The Fool is curious. Curiosity is your key, guys. Curiosity. Ask all of these questions with a curious heart. Curious. Curious fools. We are all curious fools. Ask yourself, please, what do you feel ambitious towards? That is question 1. What makes you go? Ambition is drive, right? Ambition is when spirit takes over. Ambition is when it doesn't even feel like work. Ambition is when the hours just pass because you're just so into what you're doing. What is that for you? Where do you get that? What makes that happen for you? That's where you need to, what? Be loyal to that. Now you got the King of Wands, who's really loyal. But what's he loyal to, guys? He's really loyal to his passions and his creativity and his fire. He's loyal to that which we are addressing right now, the what drives us. He is very loyal to what drives him. He's the king of it. And when you think about the King of Wands, what I get through here is that you've really mastered the ability to fight for your creativity, and you're going to be who you are. You're going to be who you are, and you're going to rock at it if you're loyal to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, the King of Wands is here to clarify the loyalty card, and the clarification for you is that you need to be loyal to your passions. You need to be loyal to your flame. Don't let that flame go out. You have to fight for your flame. That's what's burning and keeping your passions alive. What are you loyal to? You got to check it. Check it out. What are you loyal to? Now I'm singing to you. You got to check it. You got to check that out. Because if you're not loyal to yourself and your passions, what else should you be loyal to? Right? Okay. Now, this is also quite beautiful. We've got the 22 dedication, 4 of Cups. So 2 is 4. And we get the 4 of Cups to clarify the 22. I love, love, love that. So what lessons do we learn from the 4 of Cups that can help us understand dedication? Well, you're going to look at dedication by asking yourself, what are you bored of? What are you bored of? Right? What are you bored of? Are you bored? Are you dissatisfied? Is it because you're dedicating yourself to things that leave you feeling bored and dissatisfied potentially? That could be it. So you could be dedicated to things that are leaving you feeling really depressed and dissatisfied, and they don't make you feel good. So you got to ask yourself, why are you dedicated to stuff like that? Right? I mean, it's a fair question. It's a fair question to ask the self without judgment. Are the things I'm dedicated to making me feel bored, dissatisfied, depressed? What's going on? Why am I dedicated to these things? And not necessarily just why, but you might even have to ask yourself the question of, what am I dedicated to? Because sometimes when we get into autopilot, we're not actually really examining our actions consciously, right? And so when you're not if you're not looking at your actions and what you're dedicated to and where your ambition is and what you're loyal to, if you're not looking at these things consciously, then you could miss something big. So this is asking you in a beautiful way to look at what is making you feel bored and dissatisfied. And if you go through the list and you're like, oh my gosh, everything that I am dedicated to is not feeding my soul. My fire is out. The flame is gone. I'm no longer the King of Wands. I'm loyal to things that are killing my strength and sapping my flame. And on the journey of self-discovery, if you've discovered these kind of things, they're important redirects, which is really the Tower energy. And we had the Wheel of Fortune come up today too, because those are big shifters, right? Those things come to shift you. It's time to shift. And I love the questions we're getting from Spirit on this, that, really check out, are you truly on the journey? Are you really examining yourself from blank slate, which is what I think of when I think of the Fool's energy, is that blank slate, naive, ready, curious, wants to know itself, really wants to discover who it is, and or who he or she is, not it, but and ready to go, but very open-minded and curious, almost to the point of being naive. And then, we get the King of Wands here. So you're really looking at what is your drive, what is motivating you, what keeps you feeling alive, what are you loyal to? right? And then the Four of Cups comes along to ask you to look at dedication through the eyes of are you dedicated to things that make you feel bored, depressed, dissatisfied? These are all beautiful questions. Now, so this next one is preconditions, and the clarifying tarot card is the Queen of Swords, which is actually really perfect because the Queen of Swords energy to me is always about, what is going on internally that changes our perceptions of the world. So if my ideals are so high, am I going to get disappointed? Are the preconditions that I set in my mind going to end up disappointing me in the sense of they're going to be too high? The Queen of Swords has very high ideals. And I mean, if you think about ideals as things that we believe, they could be conditions. So what are your ideals? What are your really strong values that the Queen of Swords always makes me think of, it's time to evaluate my triggers. It's time to look at what are the self-limiting beliefs that I hold about myself that when other people touch on, I trigger, right? It becomes a trigger time. So these preconditions that we create about ourselves, really, I think the Queen of Swords is the perfect card to come out and clarify that, to say, you need to look at what your ideals are. Are you coming off as jaded? Are you coming off as aloof? Or are you healed? Are you healed, or are you still, feeling that energy that you're imposing ideals on yourself that are just judgments, essentially? And that really pulls away from loving the self. So the Queen of Swords is here to ask you to really look at these preconditions, but towards the self. Like, what are the conditions you're placing on yourself? And where are your ideals? And what is your worldview, in a sense? Like, what is your worldview? Is your worldview that if you take risks, you're going to get hurt? Then you're not going to take risks. Then you're just not going to, because if you really think that that equation is the truth, then it's an important one to look at. Wow. That's really powerful. I want to sit with that for a sec, but all of these questions are so important, really, really important selfhood questions here. It's all about the journey of the self, discovering the self. To clarify love, we got the 4 and the 8 of Swords. So these two cards are really interesting because at the 4 of Swords, it's got like hermit energy. We're really going introspective time. It's really time to look at the data. That's what I like to think of it. It's time to stop researching, go into the lab and look at everything. And sometimes this can feel like solitude. You need to go into some alone time, some serious self-care. That could lead to reflection, meditation. You need to be on your own. This isn't something that you're going to talk about with a girlfriend at coffee. You're not going to sit down at a Starbucks and start talking about whether or not you really love yourself. This is stuff you need to talk about, just you and you. And the 4 of Swords is giving that energy, and the 8 of Swords is giving the energy that you know full well you need to make a shift on how you love yourself, but that there's something holding you back. It's fear-based. It feels like fear. If you're thinking about the 8 of Swords in the situation where it's clarifying self-love, then you're afraid. There's a deep fear there where, maybe, like when I think about that in relation to self-love, I just think you're locked up. It's like the energy of the 2 of Swords, except in the 8, at the 2 of Swords, you're taken off guard, but here full well. So because you know full well, you're terrified. It's really scary to look at these things. It's scary to change. It's scary to like, if you discover, for example, that you're loyal to a bunch of things that are putting your flame out, that means you have to do something about it. And so you could feel locked up. You could feel really locked up in fear. And then that might stop you from acting. And, you know, you could be going into solitude, but please don't go into solitude. Oops, I knocked the camera. Don't go into solitude to avoid. Don't go into solitude to hide, in the sense from yourself. You know what I mean? Like, take yourself off the grid so that you can be alone with you to ask some serious questions and have some serious conversations about, where is my ambition? What makes me feel ambitious? So on my journey of self-discovery, use your ambition as your guide. Go where you feel that drive. And then we move into loyalty, with the King of Wands as the clarifier. So you've got to, passion has to be your guide too. You got to be ambitious about stuff you're passionate about. And question, where are you putting your ambition now? Are you just pursuing things, I mean, without judgment here, I know we all need money, but is that the primary drive? Or are you in self-sacrifice here? Are you doing things you don't want to do because you think you have to? You know, you got to look at the ambition. And then the loyalty, you got to see, what am I loyal to? Am I loyal to things that feed my fire or extinguish my fire? You know, are you loyal to things that feed your soul, or are you loyal to things that make your soul feel hungry? Is that, you know what I'm saying? And these are important questions to ask yourself in that state of solitude. Now, when we got to dedication, we saw the Four of Cups, which was a beautiful way to sort of flip the script, to say to you, are you dedicated to things that are just dissatisfying to you and boring? Like, are you just bored? Because if you're bored, change it. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a way. And then when we look at the Queen of Swords energy, talking about limits and preconditions, it's really asking yourself, I think, to talk and examine and address the self-talk. What are the things that you are saying to yourself? What are the limits that you're imposing on yourself? And how are all of those things going to affect how you love yourself? You know, they do affect how you love yourself big time. You know, love is really, the key here is self-love. Because like we addressed earlier in tonight's video, without self-love, there is no love for others. There can't be. You'd be hanging on to too much pain to ever really love anyone, you know? It'll always have judgment and limits on it if the self-love isn't true, right? So, wow, really interesting extension on today's earlier reading. I want to finish off this reading tonight with these oracle cards. It's a final message for anyone listening who's resonating so far with this self-journey and the questions of selfhood. What are the interesting things or themes or outcomes? Let me get clear here. I want to know about just the final message for everyone. Some final words of encouragement, please. Thank you. Final words of encouragement. We received versatility and ascension. Wow, how encouraging is that? Very encouraging. Any final words of encouragement? Since I clarified what my question is, I'm looking for words of encouragement, please. Any final words of encouragement? I don't think so. Well, you don't need many more after you hear ascension, right? So, I mean, versatility. I love this card because it's funny. It has a marijuana leaf on it. And this versatility card is, when you read the description of this oracle card, it talks about opening the mind. It talks about opening your third eye up. It talks about opening your sense of perception to see that you are truly versatile and that there isn't much you can't do. And in the book, it talks about meditation with cannabis as a way to open your mind to really see all the versatility in the world and all the possibilities before you, and that it isn't just, You know, I have to go to that crappy job that I hate every day. You don't. There's other options, you know, or I have to stay in this abusive relationship. No, you don't. There's options, you know, or I have to keep believing that I suck. No, you don't. There's options, lots of options. You know, I'm not going to tell anyone to get high, but if you feel like smoking a doobie tonight and reflecting on self in a non-judgmental way, it's not a terrible idea. Maybe take a bath and throw some crystals in there and light up some beautiful incense and really love yourself tonight and think about these things, right? Because what's awaiting you is ascension. You know, it's beautiful because we start with the Fool, and look at that. Our final words of encouragement are ascension. Look at that. That's just so lovely. What a lovely final word of encouragement from Spirit, that on your journey, this is where we're headed. We're ascending. We're shifting our perspective and we're ascending. So, I mean, let that be your guide. Let the fact that you're versatile and that ascension is what you're heading towards. Your journey of self-discovery ends with the World card. Is the World card on the front of this book? No. You know, I really gotta have that deck ready next time. You guys, like, come on. This is beautiful. You know, you are everything. You are all possibilities. And ascension is what Spirit is pushing you to see in yourself. And the whole reading is about selfhood and loving the self, right? And discovering your King of Wands, your Queen of Swords. You're starting the journey, right? And you've got some interesting things to ask yourself. Am I bored? You know? Am I bound to things that, like, I don't want to be bound to? What am I bound to? What am I loyal to? What am I dedicated to? Where are my ambitions at, man? What are my limiting self-beliefs? What are these conditions that I am living under, self-imposed conditions? You know, how is any of this helping me love myself? How is any of this helping me to ascend? These are the questions. Oh, what a beautiful reading. Oh, I'm so happy that I did a second reading for the moon. I'm just going to lay these out, you guys, and I'm going to take a photo for you for the thumbnail so that hopefully you have something to gaze at that will give you a reminder of the questions that we need to ask ourselves, and you know, how we can get ourselves seeing that we are really all possibilities, and that through self-love and releasing judgment of ourselves, we can really, we will ascend, we will shift, we can change our lives, you know. It's just beautiful. Queen of Swords on your queen, or on your preconditions. King of Wands was on dedication. The Fool was on ambition. Wait a minute. Four of Cups. No. Four of Cups was on dedication. Loyalty was here. Sorry. That's what happens when you move everything. There you go. Here we go. And you've got the Swords here telling you, take time and know that if you resist, this is self-imposed at this point, because you know now, you know that you're choosing these things after you do this investigation here in the middle row. Then you have knowledge of the self. If you've done the exercise without judgment and you see truth, should you, after that solitude, keep those things, you are in a prison of your own making at that point. You know, which Spirit won't let you do for long. You'll get another tower. Everything will crumble until you accept what needs to leave you. and what needs to be so that you can really love yourself and believe it. Believe it when I say this is a big energy, you guys. Like, the energy is big right now. Sorry, I should have put my phone on airplane. The energy is really big right now. Spirit really wants you to focus on these questions. Yeah. Really, really nice. Beautiful reading. You guys, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's special moon going into Gemini reading. And please be gentle with yourselves and accept and don't resist and accept the fact that the energies are coming in strong to help guide you through this process, and that intuition is going to be your best friend. Really connect, guys. Okay, thanks for being here. Hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you tomorrow for the daily reading. Okay, have a good night, guys.